Good evening and welcome to the City of Norman Board of Park Commissioners meeting for Thursday, September 4th, 2025. First thing we'll do is roll call. Billy Davison. Todd Fagan. Christy Isaacson. Here. Mark Nanny.
Here.
Cheryl Sheriff here. Tori Tedder Laughlin.
Here.
Ellen Usry.
Here.
Christy Wright. Christina Wyckoff.
Here.
Okay. First item, consideration of approval, acceptance, rejection, amendment, and a postponement of the minutes as follows. The Board of Park Commissioners regular meeting minutes of June 5th, 2025, and the Board of Park Commissioners special meeting minutes of July 3rd, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those?
I'll motion to approve.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes. Okay, consideration of approval, acceptance, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of previously approved city council items.
I'll hit these up real quick, knock them out. The first one we had on August 12th was a cleaning contract with Clean Freaks for the amount of $22,182 a month. To remind everybody, we do all the building maintenance for all facilities across the city. So this is one large contract, I think covering about 13 facilities, including City Hall. So this is just covering that. So it looks like a big number. It is a big number, but it's a lot of square footage that's getting covered. We did have final payment for our contractor with the Professional Community Wildlife Protection Plan of about $4,000. We did have a contract with Musco Sports Lighting to add lighting out at the Westwood Tennis Courts. This is replacing a bunch of lighting at our older courts right there on the northwest side of the Westwood Tennis Complex. And then on August 26th, we did have a contract transfer from Healthy Living Center Norman LLC. I might have did that backwards, but it was from basically the gist of that would be, went from Healthy Living Oklahoma City to a separate, different contractor, but still the same staff of Healthy Living Norman, which is a board that is set up with Norman residents. So same people working it, just different boards, and this board's based in Norman instead of Oklahoma City. So it was good news for us. Love to take any questions about those.
Why does the WIFAC not have charges for custodial?
So this one's not included in that one. Originally, we did have Clean Freaks that was going to do that, but we took them off because it was too much for, this is a newer company in the Oklahoma City area. They did it for a few weeks and then decided they didn't want to do it anymore. It was too much for them with everything else, so that's one of the ones they dropped. And we went back to our former contractor that was doing that, and you'll probably see that come back up in September. It's taken us a while to get the contract.
Okay, well, I was just curious as to why we haven't had a zero.
Yep.
Zero. Right. Thank you. Any other questions for Jason on any of those things? It's this one. Oh, I didn't hear that one doing it. This is the one that's on. Approval, acceptance, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of the annual report from Sooner Theater.
Test.
I'll just call you. I need your camera.
I'm here for you.
Hi, thank y'all for letting us go first today. We have a guest choreographer in town from New York City, and he's working with the kids, and I just need to get back and help him out. I'm Jennifer Baker, Executive Director of the Sooner Theater, and that's Nancy Coggins. She's our everything, marketing and development and everything else. So she'll be here to answer questions if we need it. Okay, you've got a bunch of serious business people here tonight. So I'm the cheese part of this, and I get a little sappy, so just ignore it, and then y'all can get on to your business. So we were reminiscing today about last year's park meeting that we came to, park board meeting. And so I said, should I get a little sappy and cheesy and tell them what happened last year? And she's like, they would expect nothing less if you did. We left here last year and got in our car, separate cars, and then we called each other. And I was like, you know, it feels really good to have people you can share with. Y'all came up with so many incredible ideas last year when we were talking about accessibility for the theater, and we took everyone to heart. And we were just talking, we're like, that felt so good. And then I called my husband, and I started bawling. And he goes, oh, it didn't go well. I said, yes, it went great. The deal is, sometimes when you serve on these boards, because I know I've served on plenty, I don't know if you ever get the thank you that you deserve. But we went away last year talking about all these fantastic things, but I don't know if we ever thanked you. So thank you for being a partner. And Jason, I wanted to say thank you because every time we go to a meeting together, I feel like I've got a wingman. You know, it's like what we're doing matters when it's not as big and as important as all this, you know, but it is important. What am I saying? It is important. Lives are being changed, and that's our mission. So I hope you got to read the report. I don't want to go through and read it today unless you just really want, I think you know it. You have a copy if you have any questions. I wanted to share with y'all some really fun stuff going on right now. This is last year's full fiscal report. But I want to share with you the things first so you will know as our partner what's going on before it hits kind of the news. So we take a group to Atlanta every year. It's called the Junior Theater Festival. We've been going for 10 years. And we get on a bus, we take them to Atlanta, we compete, we have a big theater festival with 7,000 other thespians from all over the world, their age, just like them. And this past year, we won. We won the big award. And I won a big award. I won this, it's called the Freddie G. Fellowship, which stands for Freddie Gershon, who is a very important person to musical theater and to the Broadway industry. And they give fellowships every year to educators, directors across the country. And I was one of the lucky 5 this year. Got an expense-paid trip to New York where they wined and dined us. We saw shows, we did professional development. We hobnobbed with industry professionals, you know, we just thought we were so cool. So standing in the middle, walking in the middle of Times Square, I talked to their director and I said, you know, we would love to bring y'all to Norman, Oklahoma. And I don't know how, but we would love it if you could come work with our students, with our teachers. Maybe one day we could bring in kids from other theaters, other, you know, local theaters and do a celebration. And they're like, I said, we need to fill out this form. They're like, don't worry about the form. Let's just find a date that works for both of us. So I got really excited and I ran up to the front of the line to another director of their program. And I said, oh my gosh, I think it's going to work. I think we're going to bring him to Norman. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And she goes, well, I hope we're coming a lot this year. And I went, what? And she put her arm around me. She goes, you all have been selected to premiere a new children's musical. So we are in the midst of working with iTheatrics and DreamWorks. They're coming, representatives from both Broadway and DreamWorks will be here in December. So we're not allowed to say the title yet, but DreamWorks, you can probably guess, maybe. But we're super excited. That's going on right now. We just started our rehearsal. So we'll be taking 2 shows to Atlanta this year, but you'll probably hear a lot about it. It's going to be on the news. It'll be in the papers and all that. But we're so proud of our team and so proud of these students. Everyone's giddy. So that's a big thing that's coming up, and I wanted to share it with you. As well as I left that week, not only did we have this incredible week in New York City, but they also gave me a check for $5,000. I was like, what is this? And I said, what do I do with it? Because it was made out to me. I said, do I just sign it over to the theater? What do I do? And they said, no, we want you to use it for something theater related, but we don't want it to go into a general fund. We want it to be something theater related or for your team. And so we're using it for development for the rest of the staff, because I felt guilty I was there without them. But, so that's really exciting. Also, we just got an invite from the Oklahoma City Philharmonic, and they want our kids to sing with them on September 21st at their Discovery Series. Our kids have never sung with a full Philharmonic size orchestra, so this is going to be an incredible experience for them. And if anyone's goes to the Philharmonic shows, we would love to see you there. Also, we were just invited, the students were just invited to perform at Allied Arts Opus event. It's their huge fundraiser, and if you know who Allied Arts is, it's really, besides the city of Norman, our largest funder. But it's kind of a coup because it's a who's who of the arts world for Oklahoma. And our students are getting to perform, as well as they'll be performing at the United Way Celebrity Sing this year. Another fun thing, and Katie, since you're in the house, I want to tell this. We are partnering with the Wellness Center next summer, and you've heard of Broadway Junior, which is all the shows, like the one we're getting to premiere. They take these full-scale musicals and they bring it, they cut it down and they change some of the adult content, and they change some of the keys of the music to make it work for students. Well, they've done that for the senior group, and so we're bringing back Theater 55 and partnering with Healthy Living and the Wellness Center, and we are going to be doing Guys and Dolls for seniors. So it's going to be, I can't wait. I've joked that finally I'm going to get to play Adelaide in Guys and Dolls. I aged out of it a long time ago. This is my chance. No. So, huh? Oh, yeah, I'll do that one too. No. But we're super excited, so we'll let you know about that. It'll be next June. I think we all need to come out and support that. That's going to be fun. Really quick, our enrollment, even though this report is for last fiscal year, we just had enrollment. We haven't even started. We haven't opened the studio yet, and we're already up 15%, over 100 new enrollments. And our auditions for our adult shows were up too. We couldn't believe the number that turned out this year. So things are getting back to normal, and it's really healthy numbers. With that, this past year, our scholarship requests were up at almost $70,000. $68,000 we gave in scholarships last year. So everything's kind of on the rise, but that's what we do. And for those of you that don't remember my story, that's not a program we ever want to chintz on or modify. We just have a philosophy, we're never turning away a student because they can't afford it. So we just find a way. And yeah, to the tune of almost $70,000, but we will find a way. And, like some of you may remember, I was the scholarship student here in Norman, so it's important to us. And those kids don't need to know that they're scholarship, they just need to know they have a place. So that's kind of some of the fun stuff going on right now. And we're looking forward to this season that for all ages. We're so proud of the team and the people that do this, not because they're getting a big paycheck, but because, they just can't live without it. It's in their blood, and they believe in the mission. So that's kind of the new stuff on the horizon, and we would love to take questions on the packet or anything else that you would like to know.
Of course, I have a question.
Yeah, good.
Well, the easy one, did y'all find an auditor?
Yes. It's almost finished. It's,
I'm just happy for y'all that you got it. I know
it
that
was
was such a struggle.
It's been a struggle.
Yeah.
It
no,
really
I'm
has.
so happy for you.
And the biggest struggle, well, that was pretty big, but just going online, if y'all remember, we went online with QuickBooks, and it completely, I don't know what it did, but our books are, they're such a mess. So we've hired Eide Bailey, and they've come in to help figure it out, but I know it's going to help us in the long run. But someone old-fashioned like me, I'm like, I don't get any of it. Can we just go back to pen and paper,
That might explain.
calculators?
Right, because a couple of my questions were also your June 30th, 24 assets had a huge accounts receivable. And that's been fixed?
Well, yes, it had to do with the transition online from desktop to
Yep,
online.
understood.
It's been fixed. So I will get you as soon as the audit is complete that.
Yeah, it's.
Thank you.
It's been something. I just didn't want to give a lot of doom and gloom this year. I hope it's all happy. Anything else? Any other questions? Oh, you got to be kidding. Y'all are awesome. Thank you so much. And, yeah, come see Matilda. And then James will be in Scrooge in December, so come see that too. And always, if you have questions, and still after, last year I said I'd love to give y'all a tour to show you what we were talking about with all the accessibility issues. So anytime. Let's plan that. Let's make it a priority. Y'all need to see it. So we can all hold hands and jump in together.
Our park tour got moved. This year, we usually do it in the spring. We're going to do it in the fall.
Okay.
I don't know if we picked a date just yet, but if the chair would like to move it, Sooner Theater, we can add that to the tour list.
Yeah, we'd love it. I'd love to show y'all everything that, dreaming about. So, okay, is that it? Gosh, y'all were so easy. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, we're gonna go do some 42nd Street right now.
Okay. Fourth item on the agenda, consideration of approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of land or fee in lieu of park land for the Coleraine multifamily PUD addition.
Hello, does this work, or do I can use this myself?
Motion to accept the Sooner Theater report and forward it to council.
So moved.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Motion passes. James?
Hello, James Briggs, Park Development Manager. So, yeah, it's working. So, Coleraine Multifamily Addition. On Imhoff Road, if you've been down there, there's several apartment complexes that are kind of long and skinny. If you look at them in plan view, they kind of go north from Imhoff up towards Wood Creek Park, essentially. This is sort of the next one. This is a development that is located, as you see, does it have a pointer? But you can see right there. It's sort of this undeveloped area that's the last remaining kind of parcel there as you head north on Imhoff Road between Classen and 24th East. Very close to Oakhurst Park, which is in the neighborhood that's been there a long time, since the 70s maybe. And then Wood Creek Park is just to the north of there. There's this unsold, undeveloped parcel directly north of Coleraine that isn't us, but it's, like I said, we have access and close by. And then Colonial Estates is up north of Lindsay Street. So what they're building is, I tried it. Where am I pointing at? Okay, next slide, please. So this is turned north is to the left. So there's Imhoff Road over on the right. So there's a kind of a linear development. There's an entire, there's a large piece of land along the eastern border that will remain undeveloped, floodplain, all that kind of stuff, a lot of trees, all that. But in the development itself, next slide, there you go. So there's the entry off of Imhoff Road. So clubhouse, you can see basketball court, a couple pickleball courts, picnicking, swimming pool, all that kind of stuff. And as you proceed north, you get to the other part of the development, another basketball court, set of pickleball courts, that kind of stuff. As you see from the report, they have 456 units of apartment housing, 2.0178 acres would be the public park decision if we went that way. Twice that big, 4.03 acres, they did a private park. They will develop $34,200 worth of neighborhood park development fees as the building permits are issued, and the same in community park. So if a private park were created, there would be, we couldn't count the things like the clubhouse and the pool and all that towards private park. There's not really a lot of walking trails, although, like I said, there's a lot of green space. There's sort of the amount they're not building on. There's a detention pond up there. Again, north is left. So the detention pond and then all sort of that treed area around it, along that border between that and the old neighborhood, are remaining undeveloped. So, saying all that, and I've kind of shaded it in, but you can see there's a lot of trees and things on that eastern edge. They do have a connection right oh gosh, it's just off the page, doggone it, you can't see it off the screen. But in your report, you see there's a sidewalk connection to Twisted Oaks Drive. Twisted Oaks is one of those neighborhood streets coming out of that neighborhood to the east of them. So Twisted Oaks, as it stands, currently dead ends in that neighborhood, thinking someday it would connect to a neighborhood. Well, it's going to connect to this. So they will build not a driving access, because I won't get into the vagaries of zoning, but they're not allowed to build that street to connect, but they'll build a crash gate in case there needs to be emergency access. But they are able to build a sidewalk connection out of, there you go, out of Coleraine. You can see right there on that sort of far north parking area, that Twisted Oaks Drive connects to the development. And they will have sidewalk access to walk into the neighborhood and then over to Oakhurst Park, and or to exit the neighborhood and go towards Wood Creek Park. They can drive to any of those. So saying all of that and seeing what they have proposed for on-site amenities, recreational amenities, which are many, and then their desire to do a fee in lieu of land. Besides all that, we would recommend that you, Park Board, accept a fee in lieu of land decision. I know we have a representative developer here in case you have questions, but that's where we are with Coleraine Multifamily Edition. I'll take questions.
I have a question. I got a little confused when I was reading it, and I think you clarified it, but I
Okay.
want to make sure. A couple of places we say that we can walk out at that Twisted Oak
Drive, yeah.
Twisted
right
Oak
there.
Drive, but then there's another point where the report says accessing public parks would require exiting the addition and driving.
Driving access. I'm sorry, did I say that wrong? Other public parks are also close by, however, they are accessed by crossing busy collectors.
It was the very last
Oh,
sentence.
sorry, that's that one.
above
Yeah,
the-
there you go.
Above the recommendation.
Driving access, so yeah, just driving access would require, so you can't drive out of that drive onto Twisted Oaks. If you want to drive to a park, you'll have to exit on Imhoff Road and make your way to
And
there.
make your way around.
But you can
Got
walk
it.
to Oakhurst Park.
Okay.
Or eventually to Wood Creek Park, which are close by. So, but if you have to drive, then you have to leave the development, because Twisted Oaks
Gotcha.
is not allowed to connect right there.
Got it.
where
So
that- where it
accessing
hits
public
that street.
carts with a vehicle would require
Yeah.
exiting, but.
I was trying to say it that way, it says, my
You did.
sentence is driving access to the public
Yeah,
parks.
I know, it was hard to say, but
So there's,
thank you.
so there's going to be a trail through the trees? to
No,
connect to
not really, there's a
Oakhurst?
sidewalk that goes to Twisted Oaks. There's no trail in the trees that I show, we can't require that of them, and they're not showing a trail. But there's a sidewalk access that runs along that, see that long stretch of road that goes through the green up towards Twisted Oaks? There's just sort of a long road out of that parking lot that goes towards Twisted Oaks
On
Drive.
the northwest,
Yeah,
one that goes straight out?
right there he's pointing, that,
'Cause
that,
that goes right through the trees, does it not?
well, there'll be a road, there's a
Okay. And then that, but how far away is that from Oakhurst Park?
a couple of blocks.
Oh, that's.
So you exit right there, it's the north, see you go down to where that street goes into the north part of Coleraine. Follow that street around the bend, further north, right there. So it's across, there's one apartment complex and one block of residential in between it and Oakhurst Park.
Okay, so it is through the trees then?
Well,
Are
no,
those not trees right there?
they're gonna build a road right through the trees, yes. So see that road right there that they're building? That is
Right.
through the trees, yes.
Yeah, okay.
But there's no walking trails or anything other than there's a sidewalk along the road.
Right,
That'll get you onto
gotcha.
Twisted Oaks.
Yeah.
There will be a sidewalk access. You can explain why the road cannot connect if you want to. I don't know why the road. Correct. It's an emergency gate there. So if they need to bring a fire truck in through there for some reason, they can crash through that gate and get to there. So it's an emergency access essentially, but it can't be a public road. So they took advantage of that per our recommendation in early development. Like, you should put a sidewalk along there and connect to the neighborhood. That way the people that live there can just walk to Oakhurst.
Okay.
Yes, there'll be a walkthrough. There'll be just you can totally walk. It'll be an unblocked access. It'll just look like a sidewalk. And you walk by this gate going, why is there a gate in the middle of this road? It's like, because it can't connect legally, because it's not a collector, it's sort of a dead end. They are redesigning, that may become a cul-de-sac, I hear, right there on the Coleraine property, where you can turn around and get back out in case you turn and said, oh, I'm gonna go, oh, dang, there's a gate. I think they're in the midst of, it won't change our recommendation here, because it's gonna change the number of houses or the proximity of any parks, but I think they're working through a redesign to make that a cul-de-sac, so people can get out if they or can turn around and say, oh, dang, yeah.
How do you get to Wood Creek Park?
Wood Creek is a little different. There's two ways, strangely enough. You see the apartment complex next to it on the east? That actually has no fences or anything to it. So you can, I don't think these two apartment complexes connect necessarily, but you can exit on Imhoff and just go up their sidewalks and everything and enter it there. There's no trail. To actually get to Wood Creek Park, you'd probably be best to either walk through the Oakhurst Park neighborhood and make your way over to, say, either Lindsay Street or down the next street over, I can't think of what that one is. Oh, gosh, Concord, and you can make your way over towards it. If you're a hardy soul and don't need a trail and you can just walk through the trees, you could literally walk, it's not an accessible route, but just right out of this location across that tree area and you're in Wood Creek Park. That's where, because there's a street that dead ends. See that, a piece of Wood Creek Park that is just basically north of Coleraine. There's sort of a panhandle of Wood Creek Park in the green. There's a basketball court there and it's cleared, and there's a baseball area, and there's a walking trail that goes all through there, all the way up along Concord, the entire length of Wood Creek. So you can either drive to it, or you can kind of make your way to it by walking through those
Machete.
neighborhoods. Huh?
Get a machete and,
Yeah, or you can go on,
Make your-
actually, I can't tell you that, because you'd probably be trespassing, so don't do that.
don't do that.
That's private property.
Okay, shh.
So that's what I know about Coleraine.
All right, just to be clear, they're developing all of that, but the and of course, the road and the sidewalk, but the majority of the current forest will be left.
I believe, you can answer if you want, I don't think there's any plans to clear trees. Yeah, I think, they'll have to clear trees to make the pond, see the big
Right,
odd-shaped
okay.
polygon there? That's gonna be a detention pond
Right.
that they're required to build, so they'll clear trees to
Okay.
build that, but everything else I think stays.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Staff is recommending that the park board accept fee in lieu of land decision for the Coleraine multifamily PUD addition. Do I have a motion to accept that recommendation?
I motion we accept that recommendation.
Thank you, Christie. Second? Thank you, Christina. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
Oh, James, you're up here still, aren't you? Okay, we have consideration of approval, acceptance, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of land or fee in lieu of parkland for the Tulls Trails Spud Edition.
Okay, Tull Trails, probably everyone in Norman knows what this land is. It's where that big pond is at the corner of Porter and Rock Creek. Jason knows, he's nodding his head, because the Parks Department gets calls all the time saying, is that a public park? Can I go fish there? And we say, you can knock on their door, but that's private, and they probably won't let you. But, so yes, it's right adjacent to Norman North property, just sort of to the east side of their new stadium and ball fields and all that, and technically, they even own the western shore of that lake, I believe, is what we have discovered. So Tull Trails is now being proposed to be developed. As we said in the report, the house will remain up in the northeast corner, and then south of that and around the pond, there'll be apartment complexes down toward the southeast, and then sort of a little network of streets that have some, what I've been told, senior living type duplexes, sort of in those cul-de-sac-y streets there closest to the lake. And I believe that's commercial up there in the far northwest corner that fronts Rock Creek Road. So, saying all that and seeing all that, there is a total of 360 units of either the apartment or the senior duplexes dwelling units. That would be a 1.593 acre park, public park dedication if we so choose or request. And twice that size, it was going to be a private park, 3.186 acres. also yield $27,000 in neighborhood park fees and the same in community park fees, depending on our decision. So I think that's the way, yeah. So you can see that there's a lot of green space, and particularly in between the duplexes and the lake. There is a certain amount of walking trail along the lake. It shows it just sort of dead ending down there in that southwest corner. There'd have to be probably a turnaround or something because, again, they don't own the western shore of the lake. That's the property line, so that's where it ends. There's some amount, I'm trying to click this, but it's not keeping up with me. See that single rectangle down there on that peninsula of the lake? I've been told that's some kind of a picnic pavilion or some sort. There's not a lot of details about what type of recreational things there are other than the walking trail and maybe that pavilion, but they do have a lot of land there. So for instance, what you see there, the purple shaded area in this graphic is the amount of land they would do if it was a private park. That's, I think, just right at 3.186 acres. That's 3.2 acres of the walking trail is shown right there. And as you can see, there's more than that going around the lake, and then the green areas that are not shaded purple. So, saying all of that, and also if you saw in your packet, and I had to mention this just for legal purposes, everything we presented to you said 2200 North Porter Avenue, a simple plan unit development. They're relabeling and resubmitting things that will actually be called Toll Trails Edition. So you were actually making a decision on Toll Trails Edition, even though it wasn't labeled in the graphics that you were sent. I didn't get an updated one for that. So that's where they are as far as where we don't want a public park in this necessarily. We try not to take public parks of that smaller size. A 1.5 acre park doesn't benefit us much when it comes to the time it takes us to drive to and maintain and keep it, and there's not a lot you can put in a public park of that size. But I'm not sure what the total acreage is on the green space you see there, but obviously it's well beyond the size of the private park decision. So the 3.18 acres is the purple part, and there's more beyond it. Don't have full information on what their plans would be for that park, but they would have to develop at least $27,000 worth of park-like amenities in their public park, in their private park portion. There are, as you can see, again, I'm trying to click. There are other public parks nearby. Tolles Park was built with Tolles Edition back in the 70s, I think. It's an older park, kind of due south of Norman North. And then two other parks are close by, but you have to go to a signalized intersection to get to them. Sutton Place Park is directly across Porter at the Sandpiper Lane intersection. And that's sort of a one-way in neighborhood, but a very nice park there. And then Highland Village is north of there. And it's a nice park that people enjoy, particularly the people who live by it. Jason lives by it. Anyway, so there is public park available. There is obviously sidewalks and things being built with this that would take you to Porter Avenue and Rock Creek if people want to seek a public park beyond the private park decision, which we are recommending. So that's where we stand as a private park recommendation, knowing that there's other land beyond what they show. And I'll take questions, as will, there's a representative from the developer here. If they want to speak now, they can, or they can answer questions if you have them.
Is the northwest corner, upper northwest corner of that park, is that where you're talking about a picnic pavilion being?
No, it's right, there's a little peninsula just north of that south cul-de-sac. There's a little, that, right there.
No, I'm talking about, oh, that's
No,
where that is, okay.
that's commercial areas up there. Those are commercial buildings, I believe, is that correct? Yeah, those are just commercial development.
Oh, for the high school kiddos, okay.
Don't know what it's for, but I know it's not residential.
Okay,
And that's commercial there on the north side of the main drive too, right? That area, so the apartments are everything south of that main drive in off of Porter Avenue, all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 buildings.
Here,
And then the
okay.
duplexes are along the cul-de-sac roads. So residential to the south side of the lake, commercial essentially on the east side and then the northwest side. Yes.
So this, wait, this sidewalk, that's already there, or that's proposed to go?
Along
There.
Rock Creek and along Porter?
Well,
There's
like all
nothing
the way
inside the
around
development.
it.
No, that would be built by them. This is their proposal. There's
Okay, so-
nothing there now, there's just a house and a lake.
Right,
and
right, but I
private
mean,
property.
even, this pink area, it would be the private park, right?
That's, yes, I'm just showing you that accommodates the amount of private
What
park.
they would be required to do, okay.
But obviously, the entirety of that trail would be available for people to use. So they would intend to build all of that, but they're just showing you how much of that is 3.186 acres. It's not advancing or going back, Mitchell, is there anything I'm
Okay,
doing wrong?
that's what's required, but they're proposing this.
Yeah, they're proposing to build all that, but
Okay.
for example,
I just
the
want to
purple
clarify.
stuff is, there you go. That
Yeah.
purple stuff is the amount that equals the private
Yes.
park decision. So they're planning to build more than that, obviously by building all the trails, the trail around the lake and then the green space and the picnic area down there, the little picnic pavilion.
And it would be accessible to everyone, not just the people that live there.
I don't know if they plan to gate it or not.
We're not gated, no.
So, yeah, if anyone over in Sutton Place Extension wants to walk up there and walk
Right.
in, over to the lake, they'd be able to get over by the lake. I have no idea what they're gonna do about fishing, not my business.
In the lower southwest corner, there's those two trails, do they connect?
I don't know how, okay, see how the trail on the southwest corner on both sides of the lake ends?
Yeah.
And you're on Norman North property where she is now. I don't know if there's plans to talk to the school system. I don't know if any discussions happen about how to make those connect. I was saying that they would have to have a turnaround if it's just in this development. It'd have to be,
Yes, so thank you, Commissioners. There is discussions with Norman North right now as to how they want to connect, but obviously, we don't have any control over the property, and that property line where the green goes down, that is our property, the little bump out, the two little green bump outs, but obviously, we can't get to it unless by boat, and we don't really desire to do that. So there is discussions with Norman North right now as to how we deal with that little piece of land right now.
So do the trails shown there on the west side, do those actually exist, or are those?
No, Commissioner, they don't. No, they don't. But there's discussions with Norman North to see if they want to continue the trail all the way around the pond. And we're hopeful that that would happen.
Thank you, Sean. Any other questions? Okay. Staff recommends that Park Board accept a private parkland decision for the Tall Trails Spud Addition. Do I have a motion? I move to accept.
Second.
Thank you, Lori. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
thank you.
All right. Our next item is consideration of approval, acceptance, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of the annual report from Healthy Living Norman.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioners. Jason knows my favorite thing is to talk about the Adult Wellness and Education Center. And I could probably do it for, 2 or 3 hours, and I'll try not to do that. There's just so much cool stuff going on at the Wellness Center. Okay. First, I want to point out our beautiful flower sculpture. It's called Onwards. Many of you were probably at our dedication for that in October, December. It was in December. And we had a really cool event for that. If you haven't seen it in person, come check it out. It's gorgeous, and how the light refracts throughout the day is beautiful. And believe it or not, every one of those petals is clear. It just does a beautiful job refracting the light. Okay, and I have all kinds of pictures in here. I'll try not to explain every one of them. But, so first I'm going to talk about our annual activities, and all this is in your reports. But we do base our programming around the 6 dimensions of wellness, which are physical, intellectual, emotional, vocational, spiritual, and social. And a lot of our different programs kind of overlap many of those, but it's all part of our wellness programming. So here are the number of activities we did in the city's fiscal year, 2024 to 2025. We did presented a total of 2,455 fitness classes with attendance of more than 34,000. We had 678 art classes with attendance over 4,000. And then we had 660 educational classes, game times, and events. It's like everything else. And you'll see there's a lot under everything else. And a very long list of things we're doing, so I'm just gonna blaze through them here. First, I have to point you to the photo on the lower left of our butterflies. So we had an entry in the Mardi Gras Parade, and we won an award. It was actually for best lights for our van that was with us, because Jazzercise totally stole the dance award. But it was really fun, and we love finding out-of-the-box things for people to do. Okay, so these are some of the activities we're offering regularly. Obviously, our fitness classes in the pool and in our group fitness room, pickleball. We also have our fitness center. And dance, music, and performing arts, which Jennifer gave you a tease, that's going to expand next year, and we're really excited about that. We've added more dancing in the last year. We've expanded our cooking classes this year. And our gardening club is doing a great job with our gardening plot, which I'll have a slide about that later. And we've added opera club. It's pretty cool. Obviously, our health and nutrition classes and our regular billiards and table games, mahjong, bridge. And there's always something going on at the Wellness Center. And continuing on with our activities, we had some special programming over the year. Last summer, we did our Olympics during the month of July to complement the Olympics. And that was a lot of fun. We gave out medals, and we had sports activities as well as activities for people that are less physically active. So something for everybody. We just had a very successful wellness expo. You saw a picture from our beach bash on one of the earlier slides. So all kinds of events, something for everybody, and we're always taking ideas and recommendations from our members. It's a very member-driven program. And one more with activities. So we also, thanks to a grant from the Oklahoma City Community Foundation, we had a grant for cultural programming. And so some of these are covered by the grant, some aren't. And we had Hono Noda from Japan. She was kind of a resident here in Norman, teaching at various places, but she taught monthly Japanese cultural programming, and we had some festival-type events, too, that were fun. And we had Hispanic Heritage Month celebration, Black History Month, a Juneteenth celebration. We had a very fun day of a Festival of Colors, Holi celebration, celebrating Indian culture. And we had Women's History Month. As I mentioned, lots of Japanese programming, and it kind of culminated in a sister city celebration regarding Seika, Japan, which is one of our many sister cities. And then we also have had a lot of Indian and Pakistani cooking classes. We're trying to lean more toward Mediterranean diet and very healthy cooking. And they kind of fall in line with vegetarian cooking, lots of flavor. So that's been a lot of fun. But we try to incorporate our cultural programming into everything we do at the center, from one end to the other. So the cultural activities will have music and dance. We'll use the kitchen for cooking classes. And we may have other food presentations. We'll have art classes. What else do I have there? Oh, yeah, crafts, movies and lectures and displays. And for Native American Heritage Month, we took a group to the First Americans Museum, and they loved it. It's a wonderful museum if you haven't been to that. And then I wanted to highlight the Dimensions of Wellness Garden that we're doing in cooperation with the Cleveland County Master Gardeners. We have a very nice plot over there. It's within their demo and teaching garden at the fairgrounds. We are having a garden party to celebrate our garden on Tuesday, September 9th, so next week from 9 to 11 if you want to join us. But our folks have worked really hard on that, and it's a nice extra activity we have that's very good for your health. Okay, so our mission is to promote the health and well-being of adults 50 and older by providing opportunities for physical activity, social engagement, and lifelong learning at the Adult Wellness and Education Center. And some goals, we're looking at achieving 4,000 members by the end of December next year. And we're looking to add to our programming technology literacy and brain fitness. We do a lot of physical fitness and adding some more on brain fitness too. And we have applied for a grant through the National Council on Aging and AT&T for technology literacy, hoping we get it. I know it's very competitive, but that's something our members have been asking for, whether it's how do I use my phone, how to use Excel. You know, everybody needs to know what AI is doing in their world too. I mean, there's many things related to technology. We may have an entire month dedicated to technology. Our end of the month for June, our membership was at 3,358. And here in the early September, we have passed 3,500. So we're continuing very manageable growth. And there'll be some graphs on that coming up. You guys may already seen them. So we have a variety of membership fees. We want this place to be accessible to everybody who wants to work on their wellness. So our basic individual membership is $35. If you want a second person from your family, it's $25. And we have some discounts for veterans, corporates. We just started a City of Norman employee rate. Hopefully get that going. And obviously, we have our sliding scale based on the federal poverty guidelines. We have scholarships. We do hope to grow our scholarship fund. And we offer day passes for $10. And we do have a lot of those too. So I want to point out, well, also, shouldn't forget the insurance members, because they're more than half of our membership. So it's a very lovely benefit for seniors who have these programs as part of their insurance benefits. So we accept Silver Sneakers, Renew Active, and Silver and Fit. And members who can sign up with those programs pay $0 out of pocket. It's a great deal for them. We get reimbursed by attendance. So, and these are the amounts that cap for them. And we get reimbursed per visit. So like Silver Sneakers, it's $3 per visit. So we could get $3 from them in a month, or we could get 21. So it varies. So I just want to point out, though, even though our individual membership is $35, the actual average income per member, let's see, for that period of time, July 24 through June 25, was $15.32. That's how the insurance members kind of bring down our income. But I wouldn't want to get rid of that, because it's getting people active and healthy. So we are growing, and that's just kind of to explain our mix for membership revenue. Membership types, I have a couple graphs here just kind of show the different types. So insurance members, giant chunk, 58%. And then individual and family is those two other large chunks. And then the others are very tiny. We have actually 5 Chickasaw members, so it's kind of showing up as 0% because it's less than 1. Chickasaw Nation gave us a very large donation when we opened, and those funds go specifically for members of the Chickasaw Nation, so they're covered by the Chickasaw Nation. And this shows you our membership growth. Those are our major categories. So the big orange one is obviously our insurance members. The yellow one is family and individuals, and then that tiny one is everybody else. So we had 48% growth last year, which was great, and I'm glad it's a manageable growth. Our first year, especially our first few months, were crazy, but we did it, and we're happy to offer all these opportunities as we continue to grow. Check-ins, so the check-ins on the left there, that is how many times people have checked in. That would be duplicated people, how many times people have come in. And so we were, around in the 9,000s. So this ended at June. Now, July and August have been off the charts. We've had 11,000 check-ins for both in July and in August. We're kind of going through a little surge. And the attendance we want, especially all those insurance members, we want them to come. And I don't have the breakdown on that, but it's a good thing. And we're feeling it too with that extra check-ins. And then, so total of 109,000 check-ins for the year. And then on the right is the individuals, the unduplicated people. So the average for the year was 1,448 per month. And you can kind of see how it goes up and down. Some months we had really bad weather, or we had closings. You know, in December we're closed for a couple days, in November we're closed for a couple days for holidays. So we haven't, you know, we've only been open for almost 2 years. We don't have solid patterns established yet. We're kind of looking at how it goes at Healthy Living Oklahoma City, and they're a totally different organization, and they have like 7,000 members. But eventually, we'll be showing some patterns. But we're still on a really good track. These demographics are from 2024, majority female, and our median age is 70. And I wanted to show you, we do have a 100-year-old member. She doesn't look a day over 75. But that's Lois. She comes and works out in the pool twice a week, and she's just a lovely, lovely lady. So, of course, we celebrated her birthday. And then there's a familiar face, a couple of familiar faces. So revenue, you guys have a very hard to read spreadsheet there. I'm sorry about that for our finances. But in general, for this period, our net revenue was $16,387, not bad for a nonprofit. I would say, I know you don't have last year to compare to, but expenditures grew a little more than profit did for this last year. I'm really interested to see how the next one goes, because July and August have been fantastic. Okay, I know this is really hard to read, and I'll welcome questions when we're done. There's a lot here, but just showing you how we did for the year. Giant spreadsheet. And then our balance sheet as well. That was as of June 30th. On the right there are pictures from our Halloween dance. That was a lot of fun. We did a Thriller flash mob, and they were amazing. So, and Parks and Rec invited us to go do it at the Zombie Run. Is that what we called it? Or like we're doing Run for Your Life this year. That was super fun, and just all the other people that jumped in and did it with us and just followed along. So we love stuff like that. And a lot of the people in that are the same people you saw wearing butterfly costumes too. Those are from our line dancers. That has grown like crazy. We outgrew the group fitness room that can hold 24 participants. And now we're doing line dance on Tuesdays and Thursdays with like 50 people filling the multi-purpose room. It is so fun. I want to jump in there every time if I just didn't have to work, you know? But super fun. Annual budget you have in there, and it's kind of microscopic as well. But I went ahead and put in what we budgeted and then what our actual is to date. And this is for a calendar year, not the city fiscal year. So the top two lines are what we've budgeted for gross profit and net income, and we are on target. We may or may not surpass that. We're about halfway there from January to July, and we've already surpassed our budgeted net income for the year. So we're looking good. And these standard things. Jason mentioned the kind of transition we're doing in our organization. All the same faces. We are just separating from Healthy Living Oklahoma City. It's a very amicable thing. And City Council just voted on the transfer of the contract. So I was called branch director before, now I'm executive director. We have fabulous people on our board. This is almost completely the same advisory board we've had since before we opened. So Lynn Miller's our president, Lee Hall vice president, Bill Scanlon, secretary treasurer, all former city council members, and obviously former mayor. And And then I think we have our other board members on another slide. But we're adding a few people to our board very slowly. We just added Greg Heipel. And we have, I think, one more we're filling within the next month, and then we'll have one more to fill. Let's see. So here's our whole board. Greg Heipel just got voted in, so he's not in the picture, but you can kind of see who our folks are. Amy Davenport is with OU's Recreation Department. I have her on there twice, I just realized, sorry about that. Elaine Purvis is with Norman Regional Hospital. They've been very supportive of us. Brian Hill is a local attorney. And then Jason is a non-voting member of our board as a City of Norman liaison, and I just get to hang out at the board meetings myself, not a voting member or a member of the board. And then these quotes are in your packet too. I noticed in the printed report you have, there's a duplicate, and I apologize for that. Same quote has two different names on it, and the other quote didn't get put in there. But this is feedback from our 2024 survey. We are about to launch our 2025 survey. So you have an extra handout that I didn't get into the report, which was our outcomes and results from the 2024 survey, showing that we are doing everything we are setting out to do in improving people's lives and affecting their wellness. And we've had pretty good satisfaction with everything. And we always get great suggestions from folks as well. Some of them we have done over the last year. Some of them will have to be on future plans. But I love the community we're building, and here's the other one. I love the community we're building at the center. I mean, we definitely have our little cliques, but I've noticed at the Beach Bash we had a couple days ago, people were dancing more, interacting more. It felt like maybe your high school dance or something, where you know everybody. And I guess, Cheryl, you know, in our fitness classes, you guys are becoming a little community and friends.
Yeah, we get in trouble for talking.
You need to not talk during class, just saying, don't talk during class. But I love it that
It's a
people
very
are
social
socializing
place.
too.
It's becoming very social.
It is, and people are coming, the social part is fantastic about your wellness, and the physical activity as well, and I just love what we're doing, and I love that my 88-year-old dad comes and works out in the gym. He's never been a gym guy. My 81-year-old mother-in-law comes and does some of everything, and she's a recent widow, so she's getting out. There's a while that she wasn't getting out, and she's making more friends, and that is what we're all about. I'm enjoying it too. I wish I could just do all the classes, but maybe when I retire. Okay, so that, I just want to say thank you. This is from our dedication of our piece of art out front. It is amazing. And do you have any questions for me? I know that was a lot of stuff, but it's my favorite thing to talk about.
Did that art sculpture ever get lit?
Not yet.
Okay.
There's a piece we're waiting on.
Okay.
A part.
Well, I kept thinking, I haven't ever seen it lit at night, and I was just kind of curious if it's broken.
So, little complications for, because it was manufactured in a different country. We hooked up the LED housing backwards, and we blew the LED unit, so, and the unit is not manufactured in the United States of America, so we are waiting for a different one to come from Australia. So once he ships it to us, hopefully we can install it, you know, attached to black wire to the black wire and the white wire. You know, and I don't know if it's different color because it's from Australia, but we'll do it correctly the second time and make it work once we get it from our artist.
Another reason to have a party, you know?
Yeah, a night party.
Yeah, that would look really cool.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So on your membership growth chart, you know, you show that the insurance members seem to be growing. That's what's causing your growth, but the individual and family members and the other kind of seem to be staying constant. So is that the case? And if so, do you think you've kind of saturated the individual and family members, or I'm just curious what you think is going on there?
Sure. Well, it's kind of been steady parallel growth, but definitely the insurance members are bigger. We did add Silver and Fit last year. And so that added a lot more people too. That was just a new population of people. And I think other gyms weren't accepting Silver and Fit, so that was great for us. I think people are still don't know about us. And so we're doing marketing mostly focused to inspire word of mouth. We get a lot of referrals from doctors' offices, so we're doing a lot of marketing to doctors' offices. And we're doing social marketing as well. I would love for the ratio of those two categories to, get closer and maybe on the other end. And that'll be a goal. Our new board, we'll be doing some strategic planning and setting our budget for next year. And so looking at different options for gaining more members in that individual and family. And that could be people who are under 65 as well, the 50 to 64 range, because all of these insurance programs are for people over 65.
Yeah, looking at that, it's like, you're doing great with the insurance people, but
Yeah,
kind of like.
That's because it's free to them.
I know, it's free to them, yeah.
Yeah.
and we just have to encourage attendance, and that's what affects our membership income. But we've had some really good months, so I need to break it down and see where the insurance folks are in there, but.
You're doing great,
Yeah, we're looking at things we can do to encourage more participation. We can't exactly just go target our insurance members because that is a breach of our contract with the insurance programs. But encouraging more participation from everybody is good for the bottom line for us.
I'm one of your individual or family members. I'm young. I only went because my mom was old and she wanted me to go with her, and that's rude of me to say that. But I went on a tour and I was just really impressed. And I just think over this past year and maybe in the future years, more and more people my age are hearing about it word of mouth. My husband goes there 4 times a week. It's less expensive than the YMCA. Not that that's not a great facility, but your pool's better. There's just so many things that people in that 50 to 65 age group that I'm starting to hear, or they're starting to come.
No kids.
But the
There's
marketing,
more.
yeah, no kids.
kids
no
under
kids.
50.
That's a big one.
No kids under 50. Yeah. Except we do have intergenerational programming too, and it's really fun to see.
Did you say no
adults.
kids under 50?
Yes.
Yes.
In general.
Yes, yes.
But for intergenerational things, we would. They just cannot get on the fitness side of the building at all. Our
Yeah.
liability insurance company would be really
Yeah,
upset with
but
that.
it's a great facility, and I'm really impressed, and I really enjoy it.
Thank you. We do hope to be part of Norman Forward too, and add on a gymnasium where the pickleball courts are, or whatever the plan could be. Having indoor pickleball would also help with participation as well. And hopefully somehow incorporating a bigger walking track. Because we have a little walking track that everybody has to walk across to get into the fitness center. And if we move the walking track, we would have more space in the fitness center too. The sky's the limit at this place, and there's so much we can still do.
So not only was the statement of activity tiny, it was blurry. Could you resend a more crisp
Sure.
copy of
Sure.
that?
I'll
Because
give it
I
to
don't even, I wasn't
Carla.
really even able to look at it to see if I had any questions.
Okay,
My
sorry
eyes are a
about
little
that.
old too, but,
Yeah, I could go back to the screen, but it's still microscopic.
right, if it's clear, I can blow it up. But it was, I tried to blow it up and it was too blurry.
Okay, got it.
Thank you very much.
It wouldn't let me put a PDF into
Yeah, it's.
my document.
Yeah.
Next year, I'll send it separately.
Have you applied for Certified Healthy Oklahoma?
We have not.
Cleveland County, they have certified businesses, and it's free.
Oh, okay, okay.
So that you can become certified, because I think, well, And
We
that's
would
a
be a
perfect,
shoo-in.
yeah,
Already
you'd be a
doing it.
shoo-in, and then it's just a matter of filling out but you can get with Cleveland County because they award those every year, and so I think they offer grants even at times if you're a certified Healthy Oklahoma business.
The city of Norman did just get added to AARP's, what is it, age-friendly cities and communities. And that's a really nice honor that you
Right.
guys got, and we're gonna run with that one.
But I
But
think, yeah.
the Wellness Center is part of that.
Right.
It's a great amenity for older folks.
But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest, no smoking, no, just smoke-free facilities. So I mean, it's just a matter of going in and filling out the application,
Okay.
and it's certified Oklahoma
We
healthy
have
business.
looked at it. We just
Yeah.
haven't done it.
It's easy to get, I mean, it's easy just to do it. It's a little bit of a pain to fill out all the information, but I
We did
think
that a
it's,
lot.
Cleveland County has really been promoting that, and I would think that you all, like I said, shoe in, so,
Yeah, I think we're probably doing just about everything that's required.
yeah. How many full-time members or full-time staff do you employ?
We have 4 full-time staff.
Okay.
So it's myself, our business manager, our program manager, and our facilities manager. And then everybody else is part-time.
Part-time.
Our front desk staff, all the fitness instructors, art instructors mostly. We have a few that are contract-type employees. But
Right.
most everybody's a part-time employee.
Okay,
So around 40 employees in total.
right. Any other questions for Catherine? We
Thank
think you're
you.
doing a
It's-
great
it's a
job,
pleasure.
and just continue, and I love going there, and yeah, I will.
And we always
I've got the note right
love
here.
ideas.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you all.
I need to have a motion to forward this on to council for annual report. Thank you, Tori. Second? Second. Thank you, Christina. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, the next item, consideration of approval, acceptance, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of the proposed urban forest master plan.
The tree board, the former tree board members are, it is a tree board. Hello, I'm James. Once again, I'm not going to speak much. You have, for those listening at home, just real quick, last year, City of Norman contracted with Davy Resource Group, a nationwide, possibly international, I don't know if you're in Canada and Mexico or not, company to produce an urban forest master plan, which is a super useful, fantastic document that a lot of towns have, and it helps them a lot. They've done a year-long process, a several-month process of assessing everything we do in our urban forestry division, which is part of Parks and Recreation, gathering input. We had steering committees, we had stakeholder meetings, we had public input sessions on Saturdays at the AW, so we're all in a loop here. The comparing what Norman does to cities of similar size, population-wise, to cities of similar region, the South, and then to national standards as far as what we do with our urban forest to help us come up with a urban forest master plan to kind of guide us for the next 15 to 20 years of Colin and all his other workers that he will gain work. We've seen a draft of this plan, went through some revisions. It's here tonight. It also was informed by and kept pace with the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, which you all saw and was adopted last month by council. It's more of a fire department thing, but it certainly helps to have that data and the things they see. You'll see some of that in the presentation about assessing our urban forest. Made sure it was stylistically in the same format as the things we did that you saw with the Norman Community Parks and Recreation and Cultural Master Plan and the AIM Norman Plan. So these all kind of work together for years and years of going forward. So at that, I'm going to stop and introduce Dana, and Sandra is also here from Davy Resource Group, and they're going to go through a slide deck here and talk about our program that we present to you tonight. Take it away, Dana.
Thank you, James. Can everybody hear me okay? Yes. Got the thumbs up from Sandra. Awesome. So I'm going to introduce my colleague. I'm Dana Karcher. I'm an urban and community forestry specialist and project developer with the Davy Resource Group. And I'm based in Colorado, but right now I'm in a hotel room on vacation in Reno, Nevada. So Sandra Albro is a senior planner with Davie Resource Group, and she has really been the driving force behind this project with her team. And she is located near our corporate headquarters in Cleveland, Ohio. So we're going to get things started. Our agenda for today or for this evening, is to talk about our planning process and what we do. And then we're going to look at some high-level findings about the trees, the actual urban forest, and how trees are managed through the forestry program. And then we'll go through the recommendations that we've come up with. And, when I say we, it's been a really integrated process with your team and our team. This is not our plan. This is definitely your plan. So we'll get started on the planning process next here. And so really, why do we want to plan? Well, we want to plan because we need to set this vision, and it's a 20-year vision for Norman's Trees, and we want to set some goals for the city to adhere to move things forward, and we do that through these recommended action steps. The thing that's really important about planning is that trees and urban forests are really a dynamic system that changes as we plan. It's probably the only thing that changes as rapidly through things like storms and opportunities to prune and care for trees. So keep that in mind as we go through this. We use adaptive management, which is a well-known planning tool. We look at what Norman has, and I'll show you how we do that, but what do we want? And this is a collective we. This is citizens, this is the team that works in trees, and this is other people who want to give us input. And then how do we get there? Well, we give you some tools and some ideas to get to where the people want to be. And then the last part is always, how are we doing? So this gives James and Colin a really good opportunity to go back and say, okay, we have this recommendation to do this, and how are we doing on it? And then we start kind of all over again. But really, we have done 3 steps: the what do we have, and what do we want, and how do we get there. This was our project timeline. I've been in your city a couple times. I actually had a conversation with some people early on in this process to talk about some of the things that were happening in Norman. I think that was around 2018 or 19. I think that it was really good to start this project when we started it with late launch in 2024. We continued with this fall and winter plan, policy, and program review, and we began our public engagement after Christmas time. And then now we've been writing the plan, and the final plan is coming to you. Well, actually, it's almost complete. And so you'll see that very, very soon. And this is a typical timeline. We always say it takes more than a year, and it really does, because people have to do their jobs as well during this whole process. And by that, I mean that everybody's busy taking care of trees. Next slide, please. So we held some community engagement opportunities. We touched about 350 residents and stakeholders. We have a steering committee. We really like to have a process that includes a steering committee, which are people that are interested in what's happening. And that steering committee is chosen by the city. And then we do a survey. We had about almost 300 people participate in the survey. We do some focus groups that are just really targeted to hear what opinions are about trees, and we do some interviews. And then we held a couple of community meetings, and Sandra and I both had that opportunity to do that. It was great. Your citizens are enthusiastic about trees, which is kind of the norm. So that was fun, and we look forward to giving that group the plan too. And a little more detail about community engagement on the next slide. So 84% feel there are too few trees in Norman parks, and that's pretty normal. There's, in general, most people love trees. So this shows that for the city of Norman, and people want more trees, which is always seems to be true. So by ward, you can see these numbers, but 14% of people don't know what ward they live in. So we thought that was kind of an interesting statistic. But yeah, so across all the community engagement, we found that residents were really supportive of trees and forestry in general. So I'm going to pause for any questions right here, or I'll move on.
No questions?
Okay. So really, what is an urban forest? And this is this is really a nice, compact little definition, but I would also like to throw in an urban forest is beyond beauty and shade, which cooling, of course, is very important in a place like Norman. And, but it also, trees bring benefits, and we'll get into a little bit more detail about that. But this picture also shows the really nice canopy that you do have, which is our next slide. Sorry, Sandra. But you have tree cover that we've been tracking a little bit for you. So west to east, you can see that from the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, which is the map on the right with a lot of yellow, the citywide tree cover is 36%. From the American Forest Tree Equity Score, the tree cover in Western Norman is about 18%. And if you look at the map, the darker the green, the more canopy coverage, the lighter the green, the less canopy coverage. And this gives you a tool to see where planting should take place, not at a real granular level, but at a more higher level. And the Davie Resource Group, my colleagues came out and did a tree inventory in 2024. It didn't really cover the wildland parks. We really looked at trees that are, are in parks, that are planned parks, and it didn't include any hackberries or mulberries on any fence rows. 1,000 of the trees that we inventoried were at the golf course. So we found these 5,775 trees. And so the next few slides, starting with public tree diversity, talk about these trees. So the public tree diversity in Norman Parks is actually really fairly good, but with elms approaching this limit, we call it the 20% limit, because they're 19% of the stock there. But I think one of the things that's really important to know from this slide is that public tree diversity is important in case a disease or a pest comes in. And we look at that in terms of, for example, emerald ash borer is in Dallas. It's a little bug that takes care of a lot of ash trees pretty quickly. And that wiped out entire forests in the Northeast, especially up near where Sandra is located. So we want to make sure that we have a diverse public tree inventory. So that's where you are at this time. And then the benefits that trees provide are also somewhat based on species, but these are the benefits that your public trees provide. So it's over $23,000 in benefits annually for your trees. But keep in mind also, although not calculated here, in this particular one, the benefits of private trees also are really important. And I do like to say when I do these kinds of, we do these kinds of projects, as the city goes, so goes, as a leader, so go the people in the town. So this is important to know, and so people can understand that what they do in their own yards, on their own property, also feeds into the overall benefits of the urban forest in Norman. And then the next slide, we talked about which benefits of trees are most important to you. And this was done at the community meetings. And we, shade was truly, I'm getting a feedback. Okay, I'll try again. That's bad again. Mitchell, I think it's coming from you.
Sounds good on here. We don't hear anything on this.
Okay. Okay, I think that's better now. So anyway, create cooling shade, number one, and that's no surprise. because it is warm where you are, provide wildlife habitat. People clearly like their squirrels in your town. Building neighborhood character, that was something that we saw a lot of it then and talked a lot about when we were at the community meetings. Improving mental and physical health goes hand in hand with the presentation that just happened. And reducing air pollution and improving air quality is also really important. And then reducing stormwater runoff, because trees do that. And it was interesting at the community meeting I was at, as soon as we got outside, it started pouring rain. So we were talking to some people in the parking lot, how important stormwater runoff reduction takes place, how important that is with trees. So those are the benefits that your citizens really like. So the next one we'll talk, any questions on that information? Okay, awesome. Great, we'll go to the forestry activities. So you have an incredibly small staff and they do an awful lot with what they're with that staff. And the jumps in pruning that are on this slide really reflect the no dedicated resources for pruning, tracking, and reporting. And Norman Forward projects increased the planting from 2021 to 2023. And I would have to say that this up and down is kind of unusual. And one of the challenges that we're seeing across the country is now there isn't a lot of funding for urban forestry, say at the federal level. So depending on grants that come down through the state isn't really a sustainable or long-term solution. So with 3 staff in parks that spend 1/3 of their time on trees, you can see why there isn't a lot of tree care. But the one person for proactive maintenance is the city forester. That's really not a lot, but you do have contractors for larger and immediate jobs, and those can be emergencies or planned larger jobs. And just keep in mind that the utility forestry issues, things that are under the power lines, are managed by the Corporation Commission for the state, has nothing to do with the city. So the next slide kind of shows what your staffing looks like in comparison. So of the 2.9 employees, only 1 employee is full-time forestry, and that's your city forester. Others are park maintenance staff, and they lend their time to forestry activities part-time. So contractors, in the scheme of things, contractors are 50% to 300% more expensive than in-house labor. So this slide also shows the US average and then the average of cities that are your size of how many staff members cities have. The next one is the forestry budget. So additional funding would help forestry add a dedicated tree crew that could conduct proactive maintenance, thus saving the city money for public trees, and conduct outreach as well. So those are your budget amounts right in there for the $449,000, almost $450,000 for forestry. And pruning and removal is the biggest portion of that. And then to do, if you added 1.5 million, you would catch up to some of the others. I think this is on the next slide, yes. So you can see where you are in relationship to other cities, relationship in the South, and then relationship to all cities. And this information comes from a survey that was done a number of years ago where city foresters actually gave this information to a person who did this through a University of Wisconsin. So this is the numbers that we rely on right now. And then the Action Center requests, 40% of, there were 389 total requests related to forestry, and of that 40% were other debris and storm removal. So going down to street clearance, public tree removal, tree limb emergencies, public tree maintenance really falls very low in comparison. And so since there's just one person with some part-time people to help, you can see that the other things that are further down the list don't get taken care of, including growing the urban forest with public tree planting. The public concerns about trees kind of mirror this a little bit. that when 44% pose a threat during storms, people want to make sure that their city is there. And this was, these were the downsides of trees because, trees aren't perfect. We love them, we all love them, and the city loves them too, but they are not perfect. So these were the things that, that bothered our citizens. And a lot of this causing damage to utilities and lift and damaged sidewalks, those can be managed with a proactive program, as can posing a threat during storms. So I'm going to move to the recommendations now, unless we have any questions about the information that was just presented. Okay, great. So the first recommendation was to establish a forestry or beautification crew in Parks and Recreation. And that would be, I think that's like the number one action that was, growing the forestry division. Acquire some equipment so they can handle large woody debris, which would take some of that off of contractors. And then we suggest an operating procedures manual that would allow this program to move forward a little bit. And then we always talk about releasing annual reports because it's important that council know what's happening with the trees. Trees are one of those things that citizens bring to council members on a regular basis in most towns and cities, and it's good for council to have answers. So those are, to grow the forestry division is the number one recommendation. And along that same lines, you can see that we did a little projection out here. So if we add that 3-person tree crew and a crew chief to go with it, we actually, get to the U.S. average for beyond Norman. So I want to remind you that this allows a less reliance on contractors that at the end of the day will save the city money. And then the forestry budget too, we'll go back to that, but bringing that up to this 1.4 million would really, it's a nice pie in the sky number, but it's 0.5% of Norman's budget, municipal budget in 2024, or 1.4 million, would put Norman on par with the national average, which would be a really great start. So let's go on to recommendation number 2. Prioritize the maintenance of public trees. Cities need to be on a pruning cycle, and we suggest a 5 to 10 year cycle for Norman. Once you're on this pruning cycle, it really does help to be proactive in the way that Norman cares for their trees and saves money in the long run. And then to water and care for newly planted trees. If we care for newly planted trees in the first 3 to 5 years of their life, it's done from the ground. And usually that gets those trees set up for a longer life and also for less pruning into the future. And then use contractors for those high priority removals and pruning that are difficult for the city to do because they kind of need to catch up. And that still gives a little bit of contractor money to the city and get some of the big issues taken care of. And big issues meaning trees that are older, senescent, that are needing more care and pruning. So it's kind of got a young tree idea and an older tree idea to help prioritize the maintenance of public trees. And then recommendation 3 is to protect the urban forest. And really tree species are changing. And so we look at trees that are climate and pest resilient. So, don't plant ash trees anymore. Make sure that your elms are elm disease resistant. Look at what bugs are coming across the country and making sure that those kinds of trees are not planted. And then also look at trees that are good for, mid-Texas to southern Texas that are newer species for the city. And then measure and track citywide tree canopy. We talked a little bit about that, but tree canopy study would be done using professional services, and that's a real drill down so you can see the best places to plant trees for the city. And then monitoring, managing invasive species and pests, EAB would be a big one. Asian longhorn beetle may move across the country. We're not sure. Most people thought that EAB would never get to the Rocky Mountains, and it has, and it's all the way out in Oregon now. So it's really important to monitor that and to manage those things. And then park-related recommendations within the Community Wildfire Protection Plan. Those were important, and we read those, and we've incorporated some of that into this plan. And then partner with nonprofits and volunteers on invasive species removals and ecosystem restoration. And that is really, kind of about the cedars, Bradford pears, Chinese privet that are all invasive and can come out fairly easily. So that would be the protection of the urban forest. And then planning for sustainable growth. So really creating a long-term planting plan for parks would include looking at what species are doing well, where they should be planted. That can be done through both a canopy study and through the inventory that took place already. And then identifying priority tree planting areas for human and environmental health. So that's also done through a canopy study, looking at places where there is, where there's low human thermal comfort, where it's too hot to walk on the sidewalk, and that would help with both human and environmental health. And then expanding the Neighborhoods program to plant trees in low canopy neighborhoods, which kind of goes hand in hand with that identification of tree planting priorities. And then work with other city divisions to plant along trails and bike lanes and improve streets so that everybody's on the same page when it comes to trees, so that as other things are happening in the areas, that trees can be included in the plans, and including the urban forestry team in that would be really beneficial for the city. Do a study of the tree canopy change by land use as development happens and valuable trees come out. What does that really mean to the city in terms of canopy? And review of development-related tree impacts during pre-development planting. So don't give the okay to just clear the lots, but see what's there, see what needs to be saved, or even in some cases mitigated. And the last recommendation is promoting the right tree in the right place. And this is really great, provide resources that help residents, business, and developers choose tree species that are matched to planting sites, including under utilities. When I came to visit the city a number of years ago, this was the biggest part of our conversation. And it was exciting to talk to you about the opportunities that the city has to change their tree palette and to look at what they're doing. And then promote programs that help preserve historically significant trees in developed areas of Norman. So that was one of the things that we had in the conversations in the meetings that we had, was that people really like those big old trees that mean something to the community. And then pilot a volunteer program that trains residents to serve as tree liaisons. I am a big believer in citizen forestry programs. It's actually how I got my start. I ran a nonprofit, and we had a citizen forester program that was highly effective in the town I lived in. And so I love this recommendation. I love this idea. Volunteers are really critical because not only do they help take care of trees in a sense, but they also help increase the idea that trees are really, really important. And then recommendation 6 was to partner on the plan implementation. So include a review process for the implementation with the park board, with you, and host volunteer planting days, tree care events and educational workshops to get people excited about trees and to increase the canopy and teach people to care for their trees when they're smaller themselves, and so they don't feel burdened by care in the future. And encourage large institutions and businesses to create tree plans. I think we know that you've got some big institutions and businesses in your community that need to play along with this because they are large property owners, and that's really important. And then strengthen the partnership and communication with utility foresters who do manage those trees under the power lines, and sometimes we don't have a say in what they're doing. And then an easy one would be to create some frequently asked questions on the forestry webpage so that less time is taken up with answering the same questions over and over again, and then participating in regional forestry networks to share information. Oklahoma has a fabulous state urban forestry coordinator, and they run a lot of really great programs, and it would be really great if the urban forester could participate and had time to participate in some of the regional forestry things that are happening so that he can bring back ideas to your town. So those are the recommendations, and we have time for Q&A.
I'm just so excited. This has been a long time in coming, and Colin's just fantastic, and being on the tree board with him for all the years that we served, well, I was on it before you came, but I'm really glad that you're here. And I love the idea that we in Norman are not only protecting the tree canopy for what it has already brought to this city, but thinking about the future. We've had, well, you guys had in your conversation we've had some really horrible moments where, the canopy was hurt by certain people, companies or whatever, but it was necessary. And I just think that let's just go forward proactively and plan accordingly. And this is what makes us stand out from Noble, Moore, and everybody else that's surrounding us. When you pull into Norman and you pull in, especially to the downtown and east side, you feel that. I don't know, I'm just being silly. This is great, though. I'm really excited to read this more thoroughly.
I do have a question. Can you hear me? I noticed that you emphasized the diversity of our canopy in Norman, but I also noticed that the greatest number of trees were identified as red cedars, and I am not a forestry person, but I work in a profession where I see a lot of mitigative or like prescribed burns or removals of red cedars, and I'm not sure if these are the same for fire-related concerns, but I thought I would ask if that was a potential issue.
I got about half of that.
I'll try again. Are the eastern red cedars that I see here on the chart, are those trees that we need to be concerned about because of fire issues or no?
I'm always concerned about fire with red cedar as an arborist. And so I would say yes to a certain point, if that makes any sense. You have to think about where they are and how that fits into your community wildfire protection plan as well. You don't clearly want to be, remember, eastern red cedar are also planted a lot by birds, and we want to make sure that they're not increased. But fire is this is interesting. I just came from Northern California, where my husband and I were driving down to the Bay Area, and we saw a fire on the south side of the freeway. And by the time we got to my sister's house in the San Francisco Bay Area, my brother and my mother were both under evacuation. So I'm a little bit biased about fire, but eastern red cedar is a problem. So it has to be managed at some point.
Hi, everybody. My name's Colin Zink. I'm the city forester. So with all those graphs you saw with the one full-time forestry employee, that's me. Thank you. Looking at the inventory with those eastern red cedars, like she said, the inventory was of the managed areas. So, those are surrounded by turf. So the wildfire risk to them is very low. Where you see those, the eastern red cedar removals is when you get encroaching into the prairies. And that's not what was inventoried. So what was inventoried was all the red cedars in those managed areas. So yes, I'd agree with in those wildland parks, we definitely need to make sure we don't have a very high percentage of them. In the managed areas, we need to make sure they're limbed up, so it's not, a ladder fuel for those wildfire, if a wildfire does come in that area. So yes, we need to be concerned, but there's things we can do to make it less of a concern rather than cut down every cedar in the city limits.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, the key to that is what you were saying, Colin, is manage them. They have to be managed.
I really appreciate your report here. It's really in-depth, and it's really great to see. My question is, you talk a lot about the pests and their impact on trees. What about the 10 to 25-year outlook with respect to changing climate? They say we're going to get hotter, we're going to get drier here. So how susceptible is Norman's current trees? Are we looking at, a certain percentage being stressed out and possibly dying earlier than we would anticipate? Should we be thinking about, trying to replace trees proactively? What are your recommendations and outlooks?
I think that, and Sandra, feel free to join in if you have any comments, but my first thought, when you said replace what you have, I would not go through a removal replacement process because of climate change. These trees are providing benefits right now, and those are important benefits. But we've had discussions with urban foresters across the country about changing the palette of trees that they're planting. And there's a lot of experimentation going on across the country as to what should be planted. And so it's interesting that last discussion we had about the urban forester engaging with other people and other people in his industry is what going to allow him to learn what's working and what isn't. And getting to know what's happening throughout, Oklahoma, northern Texas, and other areas that are very similar. But a removal replacement, I would say no. It's just a matter of updating lists to reflect what's working and what isn't. And I see that going on where I live now, and Sandra sees it where she lives, that we are definitely changing our tree palettes.
Yeah, to add to what Dana said, in the plan, there are more detailed analyses about the park inventory that look at the pest and disease vulnerability, but also the species vulnerability to ice storm damage and different climate change factors, with some species lists at the end. And then embedded within the recommendations are several actions that relate to forestry acting as a trusted partner to the public to curate species lists of new climate and pest resilient species for the region, and to share that information. We heard a lot of demand from the public, from developers and residents, about information related to good species selection. So we think that public outreach message could be a really big role for the forestry division. And we've created a 2-page pullout within the plan that's self-contained, so you can just print off a front and back page about choosing the right tree for the right place. And that gets at climate concerns, pest disease concerns, and also relates to utility line conflicts.
Silent approval, so that is.
If I can also plug, we have a 1-page print pullout in the plan that can be printed off that's standalone about also the responsibilities that the city has for trees and how that's mostly limited to park spaces. And because that was another question that we heard a lot and wanted to clarify, what's the city's purview and then what is the responsibility of private landowners?
And sort of the third leg of all this is Davy. Again, is kind of is working with us to do some review of our tree ordinance to kind of clarify some of those things, because that is not a gray area, but it's a green area that we need to make sure everybody knows who does what and why we're not doing certain things that people think we should. But that dovetails into the education sector that we're kind of anticipating and looking forward to clarifying all that stuff. So ultimately, we're recommending the park board accept, the proposed urban forest master plan to forward to council. That would be the next step that's going to be talked about. And that meeting is next week, Jason? Is that the study session? Okay.
Are we making recommendations to the, whatever you just said, the board?
The city council.
The city council? I don't know why I said board.
Right, you're just recommending it to forward this master plan to city
report?
council for their consideration. Forward it.
Oh,
That
okay,
you-
just forward
You
it.
approve what you've seen here, and we're going to take it next to city council unless you say otherwise.
And we
Making a
can't
recommendation
highly-
to council to
And
adopt
can we
the plan.
highly recommend they
You wanna
hire more
modify that?
staff
You wanna
and raise the amount funded for forestry?
It's all in the report.
I just want that line itemed in the report that I highly recommend they invest in this.
Highly recommend fee in lieu of land, highly recommend.
Highly recommend. Just, yes. Take the advice and go with it, yeah.
What you probably can do, if everybody's in support of, is go ahead and forward the recommendation and then a letter of support, which you can go in more detail, and that could, if that's what you want to do. And then Cheryl can sign off as the chair, and we can send that along with the recommendation to council, especially when it gets adopted, because it's not, Tuesday is not an adoption process. They're just going through study session, so they'll just hear the plan for the first time. So we'll actually have another month. So we can actually work to draft a letter for you and probably have that prepared by next park board so that y'all can approve, or you can just give us permission to work with Cheryl to get the letter ready, and we can add that to the item whenever it gets added for adoption.
They had a statement from Jason in the report. If you pull the report, there's a page where he does
Yeah.
a message from the director, you get a message from the park/people.
So yes, kind of what you said. We can do it.
Just recommend tonight.
Thank you.
Emphasize it here, follow up here. Well, thank you, Sandra and Dana. Yes. I think they like what they see, so recommendation?
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Tori, would you like to make that recommendation?
I would highly love to make that recommendation.
Do I have a
Please.
highly recommended second? All in favor?
Highly, yes.
Any opposed? Motion will be
Thank you, Davey. We'll talk to you
forwarded.
soon.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, our next item is consideration of approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of proposed changes to park hours of operation.
It was a few years ago that we came to Park Board to actually update our hours at parks, so we're coming to you again to update hours again. It used to be the hours were set at all of our parks, no matter if it was neighborhood or community park, from dawn till dusk. We came, and it's been about 2 or 3 years ago, we came and staff suggested a certain time. It got adjusted after discussion with Park Board. After a few years of kind of testing those out, the police department is once again asking for us to do different hours, kind of originally what we recommended, or we can go into further discussion of even further changing these or putting more detail into it. The problem that we are now seeing at some of our parks, and we're asking to roll back at community parks instead of 6 a.m. to midnight, 6 a.m. to 11, and then in neighborhood parks, even 6 a.m. to 9 instead of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. What we're seeing, especially the community parks, are that curfew for everybody, or not for everybody, for those under 18 is set at midnight, and we close in our parks at midnight, so we're still having problems with, you know, younger people staying at the skate park, not necessarily bad, but we need to make sure that they're out of the park before we hit curfew. And there are other times when other people are, we need to clearly state our hours at a few of our parks, and they're requesting for an hour change to help them also with their shift change, and making sure their midday people are able to be more involved with clearing out certain parks instead of their overnight shift, because once you get to overnight shift, it's mainly patrol instead of having more officers out there to help us make sure the parks are getting cleared. We also are adding our special use parks to there. Once again, we've never attached clear closing times to those, so when we start talking about our special use parks, those are parks that don't normally fit inside of our category of neighborhood or community parks. Creekside Bike Park, we're trying to match, when we are off saying 2 different times, we're trying to make sure that we're hitting time change and when the sun normally hits, but actually putting clear times when the park goes down, closes. But Creekside, April through October, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Obviously, we do not want people riding bikes and making jumps out there when it's dark outside. And then in the winter and spring, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Edwards Park, when you start thinking about Edwards Park, that is park that's, that area is actually connected to the depot. Making sure that we have clear and concise times with that. We're asking for that to match what we're recommending for community parks, 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sutton Wilderness Nature Park. Once again, we want to make sure that clear and concise times are being offered out there, matching the seasons again, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and then in the fall, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. when it's light outside. Legacy Park, which is normally attached to some kind of events, matching what we do at community parks. Westwood Park, this hour is fluctuating so much there, just depending when the sun sets again. And if it's the pool or tennis courts, we are recommending to make that seasonal hours set by the director, or we'll actually take, if you're the director, you will listen to whoever's running that park to set those hours. And then our new Bishop Creek Eco Park, same thing, we're kind of asking for seasonal hours as it goes by season. 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. in the fall and winter. So just wanted to open that up for discussion, take any questions that y'all might have. It's very important that we kind of get this understanding, get recommendation from the public, and you guys represent the public to get to these hours. And then we are also working on new signage package. So hopefully, as soon as we get a understanding and a recommendation from y'all, we're going to slide those pretty quickly into their signage package, and we have to display all of our hours at parks clearly, so that if there are incidences, we can have clear times when to communicate with those who enforce our rules to know when the park closes. So, love to take questions about that.
What kind of enforcement is there? Like, I was curious about how this would impact the homeless community specifically. Like, are people carted off to jail for being in the park, or what is the deal? They just get told to leave?
It would be asked to leave unless there is clear resistance to it. And then after that, it would have to a request from staff or the director if we wanted to file trespassing charges on that. But normally it doesn't get to that, but mostly it'd be asking to clear the park. It is not attached to an ordinance, so it is not a law. Let's just put that, this is this opening and closing time of the facility. Basically think of it as a facility.
So we're going to have a little bit more different times, because I think when we changed them before, we were trying to have consistent times at all the parks. And I may be misremembering that, but this is coming from the police asking us, and it makes a lot of sense. Like, the hours posted and the reasoning makes sense, but I want to make sure I'm understanding this is something that's going to help the police with when they change. And it's something they've asked us to do to help their monitoring and any other type of work that we as the park board do. I mean, not the park board,
So-
but Parks and Rec.
Yeah, a lot of it is asking from us, for us to, some of the things, especially when you start talking about neighborhood parks, when we're closing at 10, a lot of the year, it's dark out there and you're in a neighborhood, the neighborhood parks don't have, the amenities like you do at the community parks, and they're not properly lit. Is this basically us being, as we're a part of, in a fabric of a neighborhood, it's also depending on us to be good neighbors. And so we want to make sure that we're hitting satisfaction of the neighborhood, make sure that people are happy. But then some of it is requests from the police department. A lot of it's clearing up what we are doing on our side. And when we started talking about these special use parks, especially, when you start looking at Creekside, Sutton Wilderness, and when we open up Bishop Creek. Once again, those parks are designed or modeled around nature. Want to make sure that people are there when, it's daylight outside. And a lot of our vandalism, you like it or not, it comes at nighttime, early in the morning when you can't have a viewable part of it. And part of it, it's not just the police, we really depend a lot on people being in the park to report to us or report to the authorities if there is some kind of abuse or vandalism going on. So hopefully by kind of putting more obvious rules in place that start communicating better to us. And, it's kind of, we depend on a lot of people to tell us when they're in a park if the trash is overflowing or if they see something that's broken. We're out there a lot, but we're not out there every single day and putting eyes on it. So it's depending on our neighbors to help us out.
That makes sense, thank you.
Just curious, do you have a lot of neighborhood input? I mean, are they?
We haven't had a lot of necessarily polled or asked what time that they want, but usually when we start talking about, you get complaints of something happening in the neighborhood, it's definitely toward the evening hours when we start getting those complaints.
Is Lions considered community park or neighborhood park?
Good question. So that is, when you start looking back at our master plan, and that's probably something we need to clean up, there is a handful of parks that had the recommendation of changing classifications with those. And probably before the end of the year, we're going to bring that to you and I think it's Lions, Little Axe.
Rotary?
I'm trying to remember off the top of my head.
Andrews.
Well, Andrews is already a community park.
Yeah.
So we're talking about neighborhood parks that would change to a community park. But there was a small list of them. And when you start talking about, there are some hybrids. I like to call them hybrids. James calls, I don't remember what James refers to them as, but they're kind of right in the middle. And Lions is one of those where it is built as a neighborhood park, but has eventually evolved into something that's more than a neighborhood park, where we have movies, we have concerts out there, and then you got Little Axe, which has ball fields right in the middle of it, and you can't close that at a X amount of time because they're still playing video games. And two, when you start looking way out far east, what other options do they have? That is their community park. But there's a few of them, and we'll bring that to you to kind of clear up here in the next month or two.
Will this affect the issue at 12th Avenue and the pickleball courts? Does that need to change with the lights?
That's a good question. That one should be, yeah, it's a facility, and that should close. We can probably list whatever the hours that the facility's open there as well, but there's no lights there. It should be getting
Oh, I
cleared
thought there
in
was,
the evening.
the neighbors were complaining about the pickleball courts being lit.
No, they're not lit. Yeah, it's,
Okay.
and it's
I
one,
thought it was, they were lit late.
it's one neighbor. It's not neighbors. It's singular.
Okay. Any other questions? Need a recommendation that the Park Board of Commissioners support the proposed changes to park hours of operation and recommends that the city council approve this action.
I so moved.
Thank you, Christina.
A second.
Thank you, Christie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's look it forward. Okay, the next item is consideration of approval, rejection, amendment, and/or postponement of proposed changes to Young Family Athletic Center operating hours.
And before Mitchell hops into this, just remind everybody about the Young Family Athletic Center. Is a resolution that was passed before we opened up the WIFE Act that gave responsibility of setting hours to the park board. So that's the reason we're bringing this back to you.
Correct. Thanks. That was my intro, so I'm good.
I killed it.
You're good. You're good. So yeah.
I missed rehearsal, by the way, so.
Yeah. We'll make it next time. We'll make it. So welcome. Thank you guys. Mitchell Richardson, Recreation Manager. And so we're now closing in on year 2 of operations here. And like Jason said, hours of operations set here with the park board. So during our experience here over the years, we've been noticing and be collecting data and understanding what our operations have been. As any of you that have kind of seen a new building come into place, there's things that stick, there's things that don't. So we've started gathering data and looked at what our current hours are, which are Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. To 8 p.m., Saturday 10 to 8, and Sundays 12 to 4. We also have our special holiday hours here, which is Martin Luther King Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, and Labor Day, which were open 12 to 6. We're currently closed at those holidays listed there. And so that's our set time. And so we've been experiencing that for almost 2 years now. And quite a few months ago, we've started to kind of peek into it. We've assessed kind of how we've been doing financially and what we've been able to bring in membership-wise. And then we started collecting data on when members were visiting the center itself. And so this is our membership with day passes and members combined in of the past since August 2024. What this data doesn't have, it's basically a single family membership. So like if a family of 4 comes in, they scan in and it's clicked in, it didn't separate that data out. So that's the only kind of iffy part on it. But this is a heat map of what exactly we've had coming into the facility here. And so one of the main things that we've kind of noticed here at the end is those late periods here. After 6 p.m., it really does drop off. But that doesn't mean necessarily there aren't people in the building. That's just when they check in. So we used more visual data at that point to start gathering how many people were coming in and seeing how long they were staying. And so we did that. That doesn't show up well on the data itself. At the same time, we were looking at those early morning times. Because one of the main things we've noticed is the staff resources that come with opening the pool. Specifically, the pool, as lifeguard requirements for each section, each pool is very, let's just go with costly. So we've looked at that, and we've got a good section there that's listed at that 6 p.m. time frame. So we did break it down there even by 10-minute increments here. And so that's where we're kind of coming from of where our proposed hours are going to be. So that 6:30 time frame, and this is for a long period, same stretch there. When we open at 6:30, we only had about 85, and it really kicks off there at the 7 o'clock to 6:50 time frame. So that's when majority are coming in and doing those check-ins. So we also wanted to address our holiday usage here. So our special hours right now, with the 12 to 6 time, we went and pulled that data, and it's pretty apparent once you go in the building. It's a very large facility, and especially like Juneteenth. So we had our Juneteenth festival and celebration, everything, all of that. Did a quick pop in at WIFAC, and I'm like, wow, okay, this is not being as fruitful as it could be. So listed there are the number of visitors we had on these special holidays. And so the way we've kind of talking about those holidays is the staffing cost outweighing the revenue we're bringing in. So just opening the facility there with the front desk, lifeguard, all the supervisors, and additional to that is our holiday pay, which if those that don't know is basically time and a half, and double if they're getting overtime upon that, or triple pay sometimes. So
If
it's
they work over 8 hours, it's triple.
yeah, and so it can be a very costly thing for us to open up during those times. But when we're talking about the proposed hours of closing down, that does not mean the facility won't have things going on during that time. So it still opens us up for the availability to have large programs, tournaments, rentals. We're looking at the just basic operational hours of opening up the facility and having somebody come in that to swipe in their membership or buy a day pass. That's what the adjustment will be. If we do a Labor Day camp and it is a 6-hour stretch, that will be still available. We will price it differently, but it will be available. Whoa, that was a fun one. And so here's our proposed times and hours. So Monday through Friday, we're shifting to a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on the pool, and then at 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the gym side. With Saturday, the pool opening at 10 and then closing at 4 p.m. And then the gym side, 10 a.m. to 6, and then Sunday, keeping that 12 to 4 because that is a big section for it. And then following as holidays, we'll close all holidays recognized by the city of Norman. So that includes all that we listed, and the one that was not listed in there before was Black Friday. So right after Thanksgiving was not listed in there and anything, so we opened up last year. And again, I didn't pull the date on it. It was not great, though. Yeah, like, pretty shocking on that. So that would be included in there as the holidays there. Try to make it quick for you guys. And so that's the base understanding of what we're proposing, and our recommendation is for the park board to accept. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
I understand starting the pool at 7 a.m., but could you explain again why the gym starts at 8 a.m.? I mean, that.
So it's more of the staffing for it. So once we open up the gym, the staffing inside is setting up different programs. It's kind of reducing that time frame of how many staff we need. Just opening the pool side is is already expensive, but if we add on the additional staff that we have to fund for the gym, it becomes more costly. So we're just shifting that back and allowing our staff to just gain that extra hour out off of, 260 days of operation will add up a little bit.
And I'll add to, it's kind of like, it's a little bit of reverse. This swimming pool is most popular in the morning. The gym is most popular in the evening. So we're just kind of trying to balance that out as much as we can in an hour here, an hour there. When you start talking about 2 or 3 staff over 360 something days, it's quite a bit. Yeah.
So the strategy is like you have X number of staff, they come in, they open up the pool, they get that all going, and then.
The gym staff
they
come
go
in
over
later.
to the gym.
Yep. Yep.
Just staggering the times.
Correct.
Okay, good deal.
Any other questions? Staff recommends that the Park Board of Commissioners support the proposed changes to the Young Family Athletic Center's operating hours and recommend that the City Council approve this action. Do I have a motion to accept these hours?
Motion to accept.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ellen. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That will be forwarded to council.
Thank you.
I feel so much better. All right. Discussion regarding the Advisory Committee for Parks and Recreation Policy and Procedures.
So this will be real quick. I think that we have already nominated people to work on policy and procedures. We are now working feverishly to get our policy and procedures updated, which have not been updated in, as best we can tell, almost 20 years. And according not to even city ordinance, city charter, that the Parks Board of Commissioners sets the policies for parks and recreation facilities and parks. We want to get that updated. There are several key things that I think we've, as we get farther into it, you're going to see us come to you and start talking about special events. There are a lot of special events that happen inside parks. We're going to start trying to separate park events from city park special events, and make sure that we are catching all the park events that actually happen. According to like city ordinance, special events are gatherings of 1,000 or more. We are having several events that are happening in parks that are less than 1,000, but are still considered special events, which are, we're not getting, they're coming in as park rentals. They are not not recognized to give us basically site maps or things that are going on and we're not prepared for those events that happen because they're not recognized as special events. So we just need to get that cleared up on our side as we start getting signage ready. We want to make sure that we're clear and concise on what roles go on to that signage. And you'll hear in the upcoming months, we are going for a accreditation with the parks facility with the National Parks and Recreation Association. So, and this is one of the things that we need to make sure we check. And there's just this other things that we want to make sure that as we go in the future, as we get this policies and procedures or whatever we refer to it as, that you'll see us bringing items to you and referring to different things, almost like park ordinances or park rules or policies or procedures that we want to get input from you on before we change that. So as we want to go fast and furious, hopefully within the next 60 days, we can get policies and procedures adopted or readopted and make sure that we're getting enough input, because as staff, we think we have a good grasp on it, but it's amazing when we start talking to people that are outside and putting on different colored glasses and they understand and start seeing things, or frequent enough park users to see things that we're not even thinking of. And of course, by the nature of things, once we get this adopted, there's going to be things that pop up. They're like, oh, we didn't think of drones or something like that, but even though we're putting drone usage in there. Oh yeah, we want to make sure that we're picking up classes and things that people are using our parks to make money with. Exactly. So we just want to make sure that, and it doesn't matter how many people are participating in this policy and procedure committee, but we'll probably have a few meetings going over it. We just have to make sure that we're not having a quorum. So volunteers or nominations, whatever, however you want to handle it, we just want to get the committee formed.
It's already, the committee's already there.
Or make sure that we have the committee true commitment from the, because we're going to have 2 or 3 meetings, and we're going to depend on them to actually read and review. There's going to be a lot.
You solemnly swear.
Yeah, exactly.
You will commit to be on this committee.
Question then, since this is ramping up now, what is sort of the time, you just said over the next 60 days, so what are you foreseeing? Because
We'll probably have
the bandwidth to still participate.
We probably have a few meetings. We'll send out, once we get a first draft of it, we'll send out a copy to those that are on the committee, and then maybe have a couple of in-person meetings or online meetings to kind of go over what we review. And then, of course, I mean, major poll is going to be by the staff, but we want to try to get it done as quickly as we can. And some of it is that there's state laws changing about food trucks. We need to make sure that we capture that. We had a passing conversation about updating special event ordinances, which will, like I said, it's kind of weird. You can have a concert just by renting paying $40 an hour to rent a facility, but truly you're having a concert that, you know, they end up selling beer and having moon bounces and setting up sound equipment, then they didn't go proper, you get a sound variance from the police department. So is this, and they can do it because we don't have rules against them doing it, because it's below 1,000 people. So it's like, anywhere. Exactly, there's loopholes. We need to close loopholes. So just want to, I guess, just make sure that we're good.
Okay.
Ready to roll? Ready to hang out with me and hear me ramble for hours on end?
Well, as somebody who rented parks for years, and I was very protective of what was going on in the parks, I was like, well, you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's,
And now, to throw even farther into it, and park rentals have changed. Used to, you'd have to call and
Yeah, now it's
come by
online.
there and put it in there. Now it's online, and we're doing software updates, and we want to make sure, if you're checking certain boxes, if it's more than like a family get-together or a birthday party, I mean, we're hoping that as you're starting to click these boxes, it will click you into hey, I'm doing an event, and hopefully we're able to catch most of those. So, as an example, you said, right now, there's not public restrooms available at Andrews Park. If you use temporary restrooms and you don't sit them in the right portion of the park, you're sitting restrooms in a floodplain, and we get a hard rain, and all of a sudden you start getting portable restrooms floating or going into a stormwater channel. It's not good. And we're not picking up on that because it looks like to us they're having a birthday party with their 5-year-old at the park.
or they're not getting the porta potties and.
Speaking of those restrooms, are they going to be open or what? I can't remember why they're closed.
Restroom, very complicated. We probably could talk about that. It's not really agendized, but there is if you go back, is Oversight Committee, we did a presentation to council, and the decision was to demo that building. It is in the floodplain, and we're going to try to work on our master plan to build new restrooms as soon as we can.
So they're just closed.
They've been closed for about 3 years.
Right.
They were severely vandalized, not worth.
They're not ADA accessible. There's weird things, bad things happening in those bathrooms, restrooms.
So are you looking for additional members beyond the 3 listed here, or what?
We can, I guess we're good with 3 as long as there's not 5. If there are others that want to participate in it, we're good with it.
There's 4 there.
Okay, I did not count, I can't count very high.
My schedule is really kind of funky over the next 6 weeks. I'd love to be part of that, but if you want to take my seat, Mark,
I mean, I just.
it wouldn't hurt my feelings. And I would feel like I don't want to not participate in the way I need to.
Yeah, I mean, I'd just be happy to, if there's a person needed, I'd be happy to throw my hat into the ring.
And once again, as we get everything, proper is probably codified and get everything divided up, and we'll upload it to Municode, and I don't want to give Ellen like flashbacks of craziness when we did all that, but we'll bring it back to Park Board as a whole and do hopefully as a short presentation to adopt the rules as it is.
Happy to help, so.
Cool. Do you want to just go ahead and replace Mark then with, is everybody agreed to that?
It's safe to make sure.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, because my schedule's really weird the next 6 weeks.
okay. Because we can't have 5, right? We have 4.
If we have in-person meetings or online
Yeah, we
meetings,
have
we
to
cannot have 5.
Yeah, got to stay under the quorum. So. Okay,
Cool.
great. Thank you, Mark. Norman Forward update.
We are in a dead period of Norman Ford, so there's not a whole lot to update. Saxon, the only news we got to update on it is that we got notice from Public Works that they are now advancing on to building that road, which is what we've been kind of waiting for the update. Once that, if we can get Public Works to build the road for us, and that will save us a lot of money. Not only we're responsible for the small portion of road that's in front of the park, but also the utilities that go underneath the road. We have to get sewage and water running to that, and it's just better for the overall project for us not to rush it and wait for that the 6 to 9 months to get that installed and then and then proceed with whatever drawings that we have. But the good news is now they have, basically, I think we'll see true movement on that this fall. We'll get organized and hopefully find funding for it. Besides that, we're still waiting on a few things to, out there at Northeast Lions Park to get part of the park encumbered into that and build a playground. Outside of that, I think that we're just kind of waiting patiently for other projects to unfold, which we're not quite there yet.
Wade's not here, but his guys are doing a great job. They're catching up on all their mowing, getting ready for holiday stuff coming up. I know they're super busy, and they're actually helping us on some projects too. One being, we're working on a landscape renovation of the first of hopefully several Main Street medians. The one where they did the work in front of Panera Bread, that was a Merkle Creek project, but we looped in ourselves to it without asking. No, we asked them, and they said yes. So we removed all the old plant material there and going to have a whole new landscape plan working, and hopefully get that installed ASAP. Maybe act as a guide for the rest of them because they're kind of getting worn out. So that is happening, and Wade's guys have been helping us a lot with that as far as getting dirt delivered and spread out. Forestry's working like you've seen on the Urban Forest Master Plan. A lot of tree care here as it heated up here at the end of the summer. We just started a project today where we're out working at Sutton Wilderness, removing privet and cedars. If anyone cares for that, it is the two very invasive species that need to go. We've actually found there's another pond in there. We always knew it was there, but now you can actually see it from the trail. So it's exciting that's happening today, and tomorrow we're doing sort of a sample area. There's a lot more acres that could happen, but that's a good thing for forestry. Bishop Creek Eco Park is underway. They removed a few trees there, you may have noticed, but that is happening. They're going to kind of work from farthest end to entryway, so that's sort of the last thing to build will be the parking lot, but they're going to start clearing areas and building boardwalk and digging the pond and all that fun stuff. YFAC, we're finishing up sort of a landscape and plaza area on the back end of that facility. Westwood Tennis, we awarded a contract, like I said, for new lights up there. We have some fence work being done out there. Firehouse Art Studio project that Andy presented last month is done. So that they have a new jewelry studio upstairs. You stop by and see it. It's awesome. Historic House chimney, we figured out a way to work on repairs to the Historic House chimney. Is not failing. It's just some work on the floor we're going to work on sooner stage. We're going to replace some legs and borders on the stage up there, kind of in their dead period. But lots of other things coming up. Blue Stem Park, that is a Norman Ford thing technically too. It's the new park down there by the links. Going to start working more on that one. And like I said, Northeast Lions, Andrews. And we are going to put together an RFQ to hire someone to do a master plan for Sooner Theater renovate, improvements over the part of the next Norman Ford Part 2, we hope. So that's Wade and that's me. Us. The whole division's here. The whole park development division is here.
Might be the first time a whole division showed up to a park board meeting, so.
Next time I'll bring mine. That'll be a good time. Hi, everybody. Recreation, we got some new things coming down the pike here. So for those of you that don't know, in YFAC, the concessionaire Beanstalk Coffee and Snow is no longer going to be our concessionaire moving forward. We've separated, mutually agreed upon, and coming up here, we will be opening up Timeout Cafe, which will be operated by the city here. Expect that pretty soon. We're hoping October, early October here. I'm going to say fall 2025. And so that's going to be, is a very similar setup for it. It'll be same basic setup as they had it, but we think that'll be a good addition for us moving forward to help bridge any deltas that we've had with any of the financial situations as well, and provide high quality service. There you go. We've wrapped up the majority of our Westwood pool season here, ending in September, Labor Day push. So we've really slowed down on a lot of things, a few activities, a few rentals, but we've successfully completed another pool season here. Like James said, we have the WIFAC outdoor pickleball and volleyball courts really close to finishing, so be expecting a dedication / ribbon cutting coming your way fairly soon here. We have our Legacy Fest, September 13th at 4 p.m. We have 4 bands selected here, and this is the Battle of the Band style thing. And we actually have headlining Kai Dawson and The Experience, which won last year with a pretty good margin there, and they are a fantastic group. So they're going to be our headliners this year, and I think that'll be a cool tradition for us to kind of continue as we're going through. We have tickets on sale for Screen to Plate Ratatouille. That's that eat and watch experience there. That'll be at the Young Family Athletic Center with Scratch making all the food, and we did have a sampling. Jason didn't get to have it. I saw his face right there. He was like, oh. He didn't get to have the sampling, but it's really good. It's a really fantastic food. He is, okay, I'm gonna keep moving on. We have our United Way golf tournament, September 26th. It's a 4-person scramble out here to benefit United Way. Mini art sessions at 12th Avenue. Young Family, or Trey Young from The Point is this Sunday from 12 to 2. It's for 4th and 8th graders here. They're capping it out at 200 people. We haven't gotten official numbers. The registration's still open, so but they haven't told us if they've filled yet. So if you can, book up. You can get some experience with Trey out there, the guest picker on College Game Day that we saw announced. Right? Yeah. We also have our youth volleyball league starting here, 3-on-3 at WIFAC. Registration's open until September 16th, and we've also started a TOTS or Teams for Tomorrow, which is ages 3 to 6, and it really focuses on body movement with music and fun and basketball. They actually do it on the carpet, so the kids, if they fall, it's a little nicer than if they fall on the hard court. But we've started doing those on Tuesdays at 5:30, and that's been a great addition at WIFAC as basically kind of a form of childcare. So it's really worked out there, kinda. That's the quick breakdown. Thank you. Yeah.
Have you all thought about doing, you've got those days out camps that,
Mm-hmm.
have you thought about doing something like that at the WIFAC? Because you could incorporate the pool, you could incorporate.
Yeah, so we've pushed out Parents' Night Out before out there. It hasn't really been received as well, so we're retooling how we're going about it, and we're basically going to make kind of a kids' party day and kind of reorient it as not just childcare, as a really fun, entertaining full day for your kid instead of viewing it as childcare.
Or maybe these days off school, they just go basically through the 5th grade, is that all they accept? At the 12th Avenue Rec Center?
Yes, yeah.
So maybe, I see a lot of parents all the time, like, I need something for my 6th to 8th grader, because, so that might be something you would key in on and doing it there.
Yeah, no, the main thing we're gonna be pushing here coming up is anytime school is out, we have some form of camp, whether it be volleyball, basketball, anything that's kind of that activity that gives people something to do, or gives the kids something to do as well.
Yeah, because I think a lot of parents in that age group are finding it difficult to manage their middle schoolers and need something for them to have, like almost like a daycare, but not calling it a daycare thing, so.
Yeah, not looking forward to middle schoolers.
Well, you've got a ways to go.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Any
thank
other
you.
questions, comments? Seeing as we have no public here to comment, we're adjourned.
Yay.